Hi, Arlindo.
Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Mukti Veda Vibhagine Vyom Abda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome. Verse 32 on page 119. There is no dissolution, no creation. Nobody is bound. Nobody needs to strive for liberation. None who seeks liberation, and none who is liberated. This is the absolute truth. So, what do you guys think about this statement?
This is the absolute. It's definitely not the relative truth.
Definitely not the relative. The point is it a good truth? It's helpful because that's why, I mean, last week Lin was saying that Swamiji was pointing out that before you come to the Mandukya, you need to go through a list of other texts and Upanishads, you know, because if you tell people nobody's bound and nobody's liberated, like Papaji used to say, without, you know, contextualizing or have a base, a solid background of teachings on which this final understand liberates the individual. Okay, because the desire for liberation comes from a certain irritation. Irritation is a sense of limitation. I'm bound and I'm attached. I'm dependent, you know, and all the complexity called the illness of samsara, psychological suffering. So the one strives for liberation because of this sense of limitation, sense of unhappiness, which is due to this identification with our apparent nature. So, but when it says that there is nobody who strives, it is a statement that can only be read, you know, by a guru who can clarify, not to leave any room, and contextualize, not to leave any room for misunderstanding. So who strives for liberation? The Jiva Atma under the spell of Maya, of ignorance. So he must strive for liberation. At the beginning, he will strive by doing things to get a result. And then later on, this Jivatma comes to Vedanta, and then he will follow the teachings with the help of the guru, and no longer try to do something, but try to understand the final statements of the Upanishads. So one strives by doing things, and then in the end, one strives to understand. Who strives? The apparent Jiva Atma who is suffering from samsara, who is bound to samsara, you know, under the spell of avidya, ignorance. And then only then the Jnani can look back and say, in truth, I was never bound. In truth, I, consciousness, was never bound. In truth, I was never striving. The mind was striving. The mind was feeling bound, no? And the mind was striving. But now I understand that I'm not the mind. Now I understand that I'm not the physical body. And then I look back and I say, what I am was never created, There was never creation. There will never be a dissolution because there is no dissolution for something that was never created. The apparent Jiva, was never really bound. And I never made any effort as the Atma of the Jiva. I just reflected consciousness in truth. I was never bound, but experientially, I was empirically, I was feeling bound, and I was blessed with a desire for liberation, and then I was striving for liberation. It was a blessing. So we have seen so many people in the New Advaita bringing these statements, which Papaji is mostly guilt of, in which he would say, what was the word he used to use? Call off the search, call off the search. No effort is needed. I don't know if you guys remember. And then some people that came under him, everybody was repeating like a parrot. There is no search. Don't call the search. Call off the search. The search is the first, is the problem. Striving for liberation is the problem. No, it's not a problem. It's the end game, is to strive for liberation. And then only then we can look back and say, my true nature, I was never bound. But since I was feeling bound due to ignorance or misidentification with the body-mind, and then I had to go through the effort of striving until I had enough apparent punya, spiritual punya, to come to Vedanta and a proper guru, okay? So until I gained liberation, but I had to seek for liberation because the sense of irritation was against my true nature. That's why, some insights of James, I don't know if they are originally from him, but what makes us sick is a certain sense of irritation, which is not natural to our true nature, you understand? Our true nature is Shanti. So if you feel irritated due to its one sense of limitation or smallness or impotence. I have seen a program the other day in the internet, very, very, very enlightening. There was a group of very millionaires and famous people got together to share and to discuss how angry and pissed off they are with God, but they don't believe in God. But with nature, they believe because they have to die. They go to the extreme to say, especially people like us, the elite, we have such a good life. They believe that they're happy because they can get anything they wish. We have this beautiful, happy life. I am so angry. I'm so, pissed off, indignant because, how can I die? I will never die. I don't want to die. And then I discovered that a large number of members of what we call the elite in this planet, they are getting old, they are dying around 90 or 100 years, and they are freezing their body. There is a huge company who freezes their bodies, attached to a financial company that froze their assets. So the guys do not even leave the assets to the people in their family. No. I want to be frozen. They make contracts for 50 years, at the most 100 years, waiting for technology to come back and bring them back to life. This is the fantasy, but it's based on an infantile desire to deceive the most fundamental law of nature, which is everything that's born must die. That the most you can find ways through technology to live longer, to extend for maybe 100, maybe 200, who knows, But it was very, very insightful to see those infantile old people, and one of them has just died and frozen his body Larry's, I forgot it. I don't want to even say the names, but it's available there. Anyhow, one strives for liberation, seeks liberation, although one was ever liberated, but I never had this understanding and much less a conviction in respect to those statements. No? So Jesus is the absolute truth, yes, but does not help many people. It helps people at the very end of the search. Why? At the very end of the search, the desire, any small desire, even the desire for liberation, becomes a stressor to the mind. You understand? It is still a desire. Okay, the mind wants to know, I'm not okay as it is. Something must happen. Something must happen. I need to get enlightened. Is my audio cutting off too often?
I don't know too often. It's still cutting out quite a bit, but hey, we're used to it, right?
Okay. Well, we were not used anymore because this came back again. So I hope, I mean, we are so impotent. So I just do what I can and see if they are going to come to find a solution. But I suspect the solution, the problem is that they stretch themselves too thin, giving more service, and then they cannot really provide what they promise in contract. Third world country. Okay, anything more in regards to this understanding? So there are two aspects there. So the verse talks about the Jiva Atma, which is a combination of Jiva, which is substantial matter/energy nature, and the Atma, which is its spirit, its true absolute nature. Okay, so Jiva Atma is a combination of both. So when we say what we say here, we are saying to what? To the Atma of the Jiva. And the Atma of the Jiva later on can come back and say all of that, okay? But the body-mind under the spell of ignorance has to be very careful with this sort of statement. It's a profound and often a disturbing verse. So we have seen these parallels between the dream world and the waking world. For Ayani, the waking world is also exactly like the dream world. What does that mean? Let's look at the dream world first. When we're in the dream world, we see many events happening. They all appear real, but then upon awakening, no? The awaker sees that it was not real. Although from the standpoint of the dreamer, the dream events are really taking place and really being experienced. So the awaker will say it did never happen. Actually, they seemingly happen. It was just a projection, but factually, they never happened. If this is understood, there was a book again, remembering those days in Lucknow, one of the books of Papaji and nothing ever happened. Many talks around that topic, you know. But without a clear explanation of such a mithya, in which way things never happened, in which way everything apparently happens all the time in this order of reality that we call mithya. If this is understood with respect to the dream world, Gaudapada says that the understanding should be extended to the awakening, so the creation, from the standpoint of consciousness, Turiya Atma, nothing happens. Creation, sustenance, and dissolution of this physical material universe is unreal from the standpoint of I consciousness, I, Brahman, I, Turiya. But from the standpoint of my body-mind, the awaker, in the awake state, it is real. So is it real or is it not real for the yoni? Because the yoni still makes a stand in consciousness, but a lot of the time makes a stand in the body-mind to interact with the world. So I'm interacting the world, I'm just behaving as the body-mind, but this understanding is in the background of the mind, offsetting the deceiving power of Maya that projects reality to the awakening world. O Jivatma unavoidably is born and experiences limitation, experience samsara, and then it's blessed with a spiritual vasana, and then it becomes a seeker of truth, is going to do many sadhanas, doing things to get better experience until they come to Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. After he came to Jnana Yoga, he needs to be further blessed to come to an honest and competent guru. The guru must be a teaching guru, not an inspirational guru, but a teaching guru. And then he gets liberated, but it is a seeming liberation because he was already liberated before, but since he did not know, he was still totally identified with the body, mind, and the spell of ignorance, and therefore he was not enjoying, appreciating, enjoy its true nature, which is free from the body, mind, and all experience in mithya. Therefore, the ultimate truth is there is no question of anyone become liberated from the standpoint of Atma. But from the standpoint of the body-mind, so we need to go through all of that. And it is a blessing that we come to strive to liberation. Our sadhana is required to get to moksha. So this is a good question. So what kind of sadhanas? If moksha is my nature, which was ever free, so why should I do any sadhana? That's a good inquiry. No? If I'm always ever free, why I should do any sadhana, karma or upasana or jnana yoga? Yeah. So this question is asking from the standpoint of the body-mind complex, and the answer, yes, you should get a lot of sadhanas from the standpoint of the body-mind, because, the body-mind is identified with the body-mind under the spell of ignorance and needs sadhanas to gradually but surely transfer its sense of identity from the body-mind to Turiya. Yeah? Therefore, sadhanas are necessary. From the body standpoint, the world is real, and from Turiya's standpoint, the world is just an appearance, a mirage, as good as non-existent. Again, going back to the dream, I'm being chased by a tiger. And then I have to run away from this tiger and, hopefully survive the tiger. But usually when the tiger is about to eat me up, I wake up. There is a switch when the panic is beyond my tolerance, and then the awaker come and say, no, let's stop this projection because, this is not fair. Now, here my dreamer is there about eating up by the tiger. So the standpoint should be very, very, very much clear and take in consideration all the time from which standpoint I study Vedanta and I contemplate these declarations or these appointments or these teachings. I need to understand from what standpoint those declarations or teachings are being presented. So as we know in the Gita, we have Krishna talk sometimes as Brahman, sometimes as the creator, the apparent creator, and sometimes just as a friend of Arjuna. So in order to not get confused, we need to understand the standpoint from where the angle, the perspective from where those words are being presented. Otherwise, Vedanta gets confusing. And that's why we need a teacher. The standpoint of reference is the key. Verse 33, this Atma is imagined as the unreal objects and as the non-dual substratum. But the unreal object exists because of the non-dual substratum only. Therefore, non-duality is auspicious. This is a beautiful verse. So that this Atma, this Brahman, this Turiya, this Satchitananda, this existence, this consciousness, which is more to the point in this analysis here, is imagined as a superimposition of infinite numbers of namarupas. And all of that is superimposed on the non-dual substratum, which is Turiya. So Turiya is of the nature of all pervasiveness, the substratum of whatsoever superimposition or projection. So this is consciousness. Is a little bit like space-like, but much, much, much more in terms of auspicious nature, So this Atma is space-like consciousness. It's going to accommodate any and all superimposition made by Maya Ishvara with the help of Jiva-Atmas. And then we're going to have a world, a universe of unreal objects, unreal namarupas. And all of that is happening within the scope of I, the Atma, I consciousness. I am the substratum. So he used a very interesting word here, is imagined. Imagine. Who has the power to imagine? It's the Jiva-Atma, the reflect consciousness, the human consciousness, the human mind has the power to imagine. No, Maya can imagine the entire universe. Maya Ishvara cannot imagine anything without the macrocosm vasanas provided by all Jiva-Atmas. The universe is sustained by, this apparent universe is sustained by Maya Ishvara in accordance with the macrocosm vasanas of all human beings. Okay? Because it's from the causal body, the body of vasanas, that the universe is again and again changing. Changing to accommodate our interests, our likes and dislikes, the desires and aversions, until we can learn some fundamental lessons. So this Atma is imagined by the Jiva-Atmas as the objects, okay, which are but the objects are projected by Maya Ishvara. It's okay. But it's a joint venture with my desires and aversions. And all of that is projecting the substratum, which is consciousness, which is I. I, but the I beyond the body-mind and its desires and fears. And then he goes on to say, but the unreal objects exists because of the non-dual substratum only. So all these objects, which are reflections in consciousness or projections, occurring within the prakriti of Maya, okay? So all of that exists because of my non-dual nature as Brahman, which is the screen on which, or the mirror on which the universe reflects. So nothing unreal exists without my participation. Without doing anything, I reflect this apparent cosmos. So the unreal exists because of the only reality, and the only reality is Brahman, is Turiya, it's I. Therefore, the non-dual I, the non-dual Turiya, which is my nature, is auspicious. This is another profound verse. As we know, Turiya, without doing anything, it projects, sustains, experience, and recycle this entire cosmos, yeah, on a regular basis. Turiya is the PSE of the awakening world. In this context, awakened world means the physical material universe. Turiya is the PSE of the awakening world and the dream world as well, of course, because consciousness allows also the superimposition of subtle objects which comes directly from the mind of the jiva, the individual jiva, with its own, load of impressions, projects its own private world in the middle of the night, but nobody should know the details. Since the two worlds, amitya, the waking world and the dream world, they are Dvaita worlds, okay? Why? What means Dvaita? Yeah? There is a fundamental division there. Division is what? The dreamer and the dreamed, the waker and the physical object. And Turiya is called the Adhisthana. Adhisthana is the background, the support, the base, okay, on which the superimposition occurs. So you cannot have the projection of a movie without to have an adhisthana, okay, a base, a support, on which, although nowadays they can project in space, or in the air, some holographic projections we see nowadays, three-dimensional holographic project. They don't need a screen, they just do it in the air or in the space, I don't know. So I am the adhisthana, the supporter, or the screen on which this duality, experiencer and experience, knower and known, are project. It is called so only from the standpoint of Mithya Dvaita world. So now the concept here is this supporter, the adhisthana. The adhisthana is a concept that stands only in reference to all the objects project or reflecting in consciousness, okay? So this adhisthana concept is called so only from the standpoint of the Namarupas project on itself. If there are no projection, if there are no objects, if there is no jiva and the experience and jagata, the experience world, and then this concept of adhisthana is irrelevant. Turiya cannot be called Advaita, adhisthana also. So Turiya cannot be called this background, okay? So now he's coming back. You remember that Vedanta presents some concepts just to remove it later on? No? So we say that consciousness is the screen or the mirror on which the universe is projected or reflected. Is the adhisthana, is the support, okay? Is the ground, is the base. So now he's removing that concept to say that This concept of being the supporter or the screen or the base on which these namarupas are project, they are not really true, okay? Because they stand only in reference to the Mithya Namarupas project by Maheshwara. So you have all the configurations of Namarupas created by Maheshwara with the help of Jivatmas. And then we have all this material. This material needs a ground, a base, a support on which stand or project or reflect. Okay, and then we have the concept of the support or the screen or anything. So if we take these objects of Mithya, experientially real, and then we need a background. But once we determine that these objects, okay, the Mithya world, both Mithya world, the dream and the awake world, they are not real. They are as good as non-existent. And then what are we going to do with this concept of a distanum? Or, I mean, we have to remove that as well. And we need to understand that a distanum stands only in reference to the false namarupas of the universe. Okay, and then what it means, a distanum is also another false concept. It's another tool. Okay, it's another tool that helps us to understand, but ultimately later on we need to negate the concept of Dvaita Mithya world, which includes the namarupas and the support or ground on which the namarupas are project or reflect upon. Therefore, Turiya cannot be called Advaita Adhistanam also. We cannot say that Turiya is non-dual, is Advaita. Advaita is identical to non-dual. Turiya is not, and it is a ground on which the universe. No, we have to let go of that concept as well. Okay, the word adhistanam. Am I pronounce it correctly, Lynn?
I think closer would be adhishtanam.
Adhistanam, thank you. Adhistanam, yeah. So Turiya cannot be called Advaita Adhistanam also. The word Adhistanam is applicable only from the standpoint of Mithya Dvaita world. Okay, so what is the Dvaita world? The Mithya is the most fundamental duality, the experiencer, Jiva Atma, and the world Jagata. Okay, so Adhistanam is applicable only from the standpoint of the Mithya Dvaita, Jivatma and Jagata. The rope, now it further explains, the rope is the support of the rope snake, okay? So what is the adhistanam, the fundamental nature, the support, the ground, what the support for the rope snake is the rope. From the standpoint of the false rope snake, the rope is called the support, the base, the substance of the rope snake. Because rope snake alone exists, let me read it as it is here. The rope is called adhistanam of the rope snake because rope alone lends existence to snake. And then it lends existence to the snake, the rope snake. Whatever borrows existence is called Mithya, and whatever lends existence is called adhistanam. Okay, but once we determine that all Mithya snakes, all Mithya objects is non-existent, and then what is the point of considering Turiya adhistanam? Adhistanam. Now I got it. Adhistanam. No?
When they have that long mark above a vowel, it's slightly different pronunciation, but it's supposed to be accented. So sometimes that tells you which syllable of the word is.
I have inferred when once you pronounce that to me. Now, Gaudapada says that the word adhistanam is only used from the standpoint of Mithya snake. If the snake is negated in better light, the support for that, the concept of the support for the snake, or the nature of the snake as robe needs to be also negated. So we will never call it again. Oh, Jesus, what is this? This is a robe, adhistanam, and adhistanam, and adhistanam is adhistan only from the standpoint of the superimposition of projection, as if the robe is landing or borrowing existence, or the snake is borrowing existence from the robe. Okay. And then he keeps playing with it until we understand these nuances of these teachings of Gaudapada. And then he says this, likewise, a guru can be called a guru only as long as there are disciples in front of him. When the disciples are gone, the guru cannot have the status of guru. Similarly, Turiya can have the status of adhistanam. Adhistanam. Can you tell me one more time, please? Adhistanam.
Adhishtanam.
Turiya can have the status adhistanam only as long as we accept the vital world as something real. When the vital world is negated, Turiya does not have the status of adhistanam also. Therefore, you cannot call it adhistanam. When then what is it called? No name is possible, because all names are always in relation to something else as a mean to differentiate that from other things. But when you want to put a name in Brahman, and the names are going to serve the purpose to define Brahman against other definitions, and then we are in trouble. That's why in this Mandukya Upanishad, the silence represents Turiya, because you can't say much about Turiya or Brahman. That's why it's what's said in Mandukya that Vishwan is represented by the letter A, Trijatsa is represented by the letter U, Pranya by the letter M, and Turiya is by silence. Therefore, Turiya is neither Advaita nor Advaita, and much less Adhistanam. Are we doing okay? Okay, let's see. I don't want to repeat again and again the same concepts. From the standpoint of the absolute reality, Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat do not exist at all. Therefore, there is no creator, no creation, no sustenance, no dissolution, no samsara, no seeker, no sadhaka, no sadhana, no yanan, and no moksha. Everything is negated from the absolute reality, from that standpoint. And then there is no bondage or liberation. This absolute reality is Turiya itself. That's, I mean, we hear some famous statements in the spiritual circles here and there, such as the truth cannot be said, whosoever knows does not say a word, you know, and so it's better to stay in silence because that is the absolute reality. Yeah? So this one absolute reality is called Turiya, and it's available in two versions or two forms at our experiential plane. These two versions are Mithya, Advaita world that we experience. Mithya because it's only a borrowed existence. I am consciousness, Brahman, and I am lending existence. This Mithya universe enjoy a borrowed existence. Or jivas, exactly like the Jivatma enjoys a borrowed chit or consciousness from I, limitless consciousness. So Mithya, because it has borrowed existence, is one kind of Mithya Advaita world. And the other is Satya Advaita Adhisthana, because for the Mithya Advaita world to borrow existence, there should be something to lend existence. The lender of existence is called Adhisthana. 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 It's called Adhisthana. If both these versions are the absolute reality of the absolute reality belong to experiential plane, or why we say that Advaitam is superior? So we are presenting two levels of absolute reality. Reality is Satya because it is what lends existence to the superimposition. The lender of existence is called Satya Advaita Adhisthana. If both these versions of the absolute reality belong to the experiential plane on, why Advaita superior? I did not get the first one. Those two versions are, let me go back here. Mithya Advaita. Okay, one is Advaita and one is Advaita. Okay, now I remember. Okay, we say that Satya Advaita is one level of experience because there is a lending of existence to all these snakes, all these namarupas. But the absolute reality is the support, the base, the ground, the adhisthana. This is one aspect of this absolute reality. And then the other is Mithya Advaita. We experience Mithya because Mithya is a projection, and this projection enjoys a certain degree of apparent existence from Brahman. So we have Mithya as Mithya Advaita, the division, experiencer, experience, and we have Satya Advaita Adhisthana. Yeah, okay, now it became clear. Are you following? Is it clear for you guys? Satya Advaita Adhisthana, because for the Mithya Advaita world to borrow existence, there should be something to learn. And then we have the screen, and then we have the movie, okay? We have this Adhisthana, and then the base, the foundation, the ground, the support, howsoever we want to say, and on which all the superimposition or projections are superimposed. If both these versions of reality belong to the experiential plane, why Advaita is superior? Both belong to the same status, both are Mithya. There is a Mithya, which is Advaita, a Mithya that is Advaita. Mitya, that is Advaitam, is that there is something in the world which is real, and it is the reflecting Prakriti of Maya, or the Chit aspect of Brahman. Do you understand? Which is still Mitya. Both belong to the same stat, both are Mitya, okay? But both allow us to experience the dualistic world of know or non-experience, and the other is a non-dual universe where the only reality is Adhisthanam, which is the ground on which all Namarupas are projected, or the mirror-like Prakriti of Maya on which the universe shines. You understand? So we are talking about two levels of Mitya reality. One is dualistic by nature, the Jivatma and Jagata, and the other is basically Maya, the Prakriti, which is the ground reflecting the universe. And then it says, one is dualistic by nature, experiencer and experience, and the other is Advaita Adhisthanam. It lends, it supports, it allows the projection of this duality, Jivatma and Jagata. It borrows existence to this duality, this divided world. So Advaita is superior. This Advaita Adhisthanam is superior because it does not borrow existence. Whatever that has borrowed has no borrowed original independent existence, which is Satya Adhisthanam, must be superior. Okay, so it is superior. Okay, but as we have seen in the previous statements here, it's not the ultimate reality, because the concept of a base, a foundation, a ground on which the world shines, it's still something that does not properly define Turiya, okay? So Turiya is a non-dual, but on a absolute base, okay? That's why we need to abandon the Adhisthana concept. It's superior to the duality, Jiva and Jagata. Then what should one hold on to on this experiential level? Okay, on the experiential, one should hold on to what? Advaita Adhisthana only, which is the knowledge Aham Brahmasmi. Okay? So one should hold on to the Advaita ground base, which allows me to understand that Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Okay? So I am the base, I am the Adhisthanam on which the whole world emerged, appears. Everything, those concepts of everything is in me and in me alone. This me, this I, is the Advaita Adhisthana, okay? I am Brahman. The Advaita world exists in the experiential plane, supported, sustained by my nature as Advaita Adhisthana. So enjoy the Advaita world. Advaita, again, is what? The body, mind, Jivatma, and Jagata, the universe of Namarupas. The Advaita world of Namarupas exists in the experiential plane, support only by my nature as Advaita Adhisthana. Enjoy Advaita world, but do not hold on to it. You see, the same different presentations and words, but the concepts more or less similar. Sometimes it sounds a little bit more confusing because we need to understand better these different terms, but the concepts are basically simple and the same, okay? So enjoy the Advaita world. My Jivatma, I experience my Jivatma, and I experience the world of objects through this Jivatma. So enjoy, no? Enjoy the experience because it's available, but do not depend on this Jagata. Do not hold on to it. Do not get hooked to any relationship that will come and go. Even your youth will come and go, as we all know. Do not hold on to these things. Hold on to your nature as Advaita Adhisthana, although Advaita Adhisthana does not stand without the Dvaita Jiva Jagata superimposition. This is the point to be understood here. From the Vyavaharika Dristi. So, one Brahman is available in Dvaita Mitya world and Dvaita Satya Adhisthana. Then what about Paramatika Dristi? Okay. Now we're gonna further clarify this, So on the Vyavaharika concept, or how you say, from the Vyavaharika, I forgot this translation, the literal translation of Dristi, you remember?
Is it like the vision of Vyavaharika from the standpoint, from the vision? I think drishti is that.
Drishti, you think it's vision? I thought it was
Point of view, kind of, in the sense.
it is. Oh,
Yeah, from the
no,
viewpoint.
I have to look later on. From the Vyavaharika, there is only one Brahman is available as Dvaita Mitya world. And Advaita Satya Adhisthana. Okay, so when we look into from this angle now of the Pratibhasika, the Vyavaharika, and the Paramatika Dristi, different visions. From the Vyavaharika, there is one consciousness, Brahman is available as non-dual, as Advaita Mitya world and Advaita Satya Adhisthana. So what he's saying here, the whole world is composed by two principles. One is Brahman, let's say, one is spirit and the other is matter and energy. So one is consciousness and the other is Jiva, Jagata, and Ishvara, okay? So in the Vyavaharika, we have these available to us. We have the experiential, to a certain extent, understanding of Ishvara, Jiva, Jagata, okay? Ishvara being the Adhisthana, or Maya Ishvara being the Adhisthana, okay? So we have these two available understandings, Dvaita Mitya and Advaita Adhisthana, the basis on which all the Jiva Jagatas, they are projects. So then what about Paramatika Dristi? From the absolute reality standpoint, both are negate, but in a slightly different form. This is very nice. So now from the Paramatika Dristi, we have to see both of these truths, okay? Or experiential profound knowledge, as false, okay? From the absolute reality standpoint, both are to be negated, but in a slight different way. The Mitya Dvaita world is totally negated, okay? Because we know that there is no duality experiencer and experience, but there is only what? There is only consciousness on which the Jivatma and Jagata are reflected.